I want to talk about some current events. Uh, Basically, the phony peace deal between Israel and UAE and Bahrain, and some effort by Pompeo to bring more of these puppet states like Saudi or what's the other one? Qatari. I don't think Qataris are as much of a puppet as the Saudis, but anyhow, I put the title of this video um, Zionist Neocons and foreign policies hijackings, which means that like the way it works, like assembly line, the Netanyahu or Lieberman or AIPAC, they make a proposal to the Neocon. They are like mirrors standing in front of each other, and the Neocons, make the proposal to the administration. And well, another thing that's very interesting with in the United States is that there's just a group of Neocons, a few people that they go from one administration, they go into another administration. For example, the same kind of people that have been in Reagan administration. Well, Bolton is mentioned all the time, and he moved into the Bush administrations, and then from the Bush administrations moved into his idiot son, Bush Jr., and then from there to Clinton's and to this and that and that. And Bolton was in Trump's administration too. So basically, the U.S. foreign policy, the policy that 330 million people adhere to, has been already sold off, and has been the same policy, totally pro-Israel, pro-Zionist, for many decades, through many administrations. And it's just the same kind of guy. They come in and they do this and that. But what Israel is doing is Israel attacks neighboring countries. And that's exactly how Israel started, by bombing and killing local Palestinians, and then they come around, they make a peace deal and get more territory and get safety to do more, and then they go on and do more and more, and gradually they have increased the sphere of their influence, and they have bombed every country around them, and also put most of the population in a open air prison in Gaza. But the question is, does a bunch of wealthy European Jews, do they deserve all these influence in all kinds of countries? They have the ministers of many of stupid little European countries singing their praises. They have the Neocons here. They do whatever they want. And they have all these satellite Wahhabi states. They also making peace deals. Do the populations of these countries, like the Europeans themselves, or the Americans, or the Arabs, which are mostly Muslims, a lot of them are Shia. Do they really support these idiots, these violent Zionists that have occupied the Holy Land? Do the majority of people? It's like somebody came in and just hijacked foreign policy of different countries, and they had a hold in Iran too. At Shah's time, Shasta supported the Zionists. It's like in Iran there is a really nasty expression. It goes like this: like when when somebody acquires the culture, like and becomes really stupid, like the other guys who have the same culture. They say that he or she ate the donkey skin too. He's talking like a donkey too, talking from his ass. uh, my opinion is that the Zionist criminals that have occupied Holy Land, they do not deserve any of these widespread support and peace deals and formalizations and legitimizations. They are an illegal state. At certain point, their clock is going to run out on them, and they're going to be wiped out. They're going to be taken over through a land occupation, and then all they'll have left will be these stupid bankers that support them and mouthpieces everywhere that they have been paying. But what will happen is that it creates a false international atmosphere that countries are unable to deal with each other in a equitable way and make actual peace deals and actual trade agreements, actual if we want to go to war with the United States, then we should just go to war with the United States, bomb the fuck out of their bases, or bomb the fuck out of Israel and Israeli military installations. We don't have to go in a subterfuge way and go all around and do this little thing here and a little thing there. Or what the United States does is tantamount to terrorist actions to get sensational results. For example, killing retired generals or diplomats, and showing a force when there really isn't a force there that could call itself an empire. Well, many Americans, they are such provincial and stupid people. They have never really actually put their feet outside of the U.S. borders and look at reality. And there are realities which are military realities. For example, I have to say a joke. It's a Putin joke. Putin thinks that Israel has only one soldier. But this is like kind of hinting that like another general's remark that the quantity has a quality of its own. Like, United States, they send in a spy plane RQ-170 and it got captured. I was watching a YouTube video by Iranian government. There was just in one hangar, there are like about 30 of these clones of RQ-170. I mean, the number of planes and weapons and rockets directed towards Israel from Iran, from Hezbollah, from Hamas, from Lebanon, is mind-boggling. If these things went off, I don't think there would be an Israeli left alive. But well, their actions, the stuff that Netanyahu does or the Israeli Air Force does by going and bombing around is more like a public relations stunt to show the world, hey, we are in charge, we can go in here and do this and that, we're making peace deals. It's more like a presidential gift to Trump to show his own stupid constituents that, oh look, I've done all this stuff, I'm so successful as the president. Trump hasn't done anything except do more terrorist acts. The two things about Trump that I remember in his foreign, or three things that I remember in his foreign policy endeavors, is that he exited the nuclear agreement that many countries had agreed to, and it quieted down a crisis. Or I'm not saying that Iran doesn't have nukes. We have nukes, but all these stupid actors came together and said, "Oh, you don't," and we're gonna make all these protocols and stuff to show each other and you that you don't have it, and so we can just go on and do business as usual. We just want to do business with each other. We don't care if you have nukes. You may or may not, but hey, we just want to do business. We want to sell French cheese, and we want to sell tractors. We don't want all these international sanctions. Well, the Americans went along with it because everybody else was going along with it, and then Trump came in and ruined it. He just damaged international trade. But was there any kind of logic to it? I think Iran was the loser in this international agreement, because then it had to make extra effort to hide their nukes and comply on its face with all these international protocols. It was just a lying game all around. But the better thing for Iran to do with all these military actions and provocations by Israel and United States is just to publicly exit NPT. So the fuck with it. We have nukes. We also have rockets that will deliver it anywhere. Pentagon, if you want. And we are not abiding by any of it. And since you have sanctioned us up to the yin yang, well, we just gonna produce everything here as we are and forget about all this. I think we need Iran needs Trump's foreign policy, and Trump needs Iran's foreign policy. But that's a mismatch right there. Well, these foreign policy hijackings, these like public stunts or public relations, do actually, they show two things: that many governments in the world are puppet governments. They're puppets of United States and Israel. And when these facts are known, they become publicized because of these phony peace deals. It angers the populations in those countries, and also threatens countries that are not puppet governments, like Iran or Russia or China, and then it increases the chance for warfare, a real warfare, not the kind that Trump engages in, and it inflames the stuff. The other thing it does is that it humiliates many countries, publicly humiliates, like publicly humiliates UAE government, publicly humiliates Bahrain, publicly humiliates Qatari or Saudi government, that they're irrelevant, they're a puppet government, they'll do whatever that the Trump or fucking Netanyahu wants, and then also it angers the local population. Do you think that the Bahraini government and UAE government, they're gonna be overthrown very shortly? I mean, does Iran or Russia or other countries actually need to send troops into these places? Do we actually need to bomb them with rockets? I don't think so. I think that they're just such shady, such discredited governments that anything can happen tomorrow. So why do anything? I think the best policy for Iranians to do nothing, and these guys will fall on their own. Uh, Another thing is that the the American public, American people, as stupid and provincial and backward that they are in the world, they deserve a little bit better. They deserve independent foreign policy. I mean, some Europeans, I hear it in their media, the Europeans are not as retarded as the Americans. The Europeans, they sometimes say we need to acquire a backbone, stand for ourselves, have our own foreign policy, right? With the Americans, they're so retarded. They're all trying to be so impressive, so right, so fit in society, fit with the crowd. Well, they do remind me of a pack of cows. They're being heralded to slaughter. But well, one of these days, things will go really wrong, and not just according to the public relations stunts, but they will just go really wrong. There will be a real war. There will be, you know, an Iranian rocket will carry a nuke and nuke Pentagon, something like that. Well, the people will wake up then, right? Maybe. I don't know. Uh, Anyhow, thank you for being in my YouTube channel. And my stuff is research. Okay, if you understood these ideas, I think you should give yourself a PhD in political science and try to become U.S. UN ambassador. Thank you.